Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to the facility. So much to get to, but I wanted to start right here at the big board because I wanted to start with the urgent news that is Dame Lillard, a top 75 player in the NBA, on the move from the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, why is this so interesting? Starting the day with the most important conversation. If you hear nothing else, make sure you hear this. Because Giannis Antetokounmpo, a superstar in the NBA, he teamed up 2 years ago with Dame Lillard. He said, you know, what I have here, it's just not good enough. And Dame Lillard, one of the best scorers, a man who has a nickname, Dame Time, because of what he can do in the closing crunch time situations. A man who is supposed to resurrect the Milwaukee Bucks in totality, not just make them a one-hit wonder, which they did when they won a championship in 2021. A man who was supposed to actually bring forth the full salvation of the Milwaukee Bucks is now gone. They say don't kick a man while he's down. Well, Dame Lillard, he ruptured his Achilles tendon in the playoffs, and as a result of that Achilles tendon rupture, just months later, now he's shipped off, waived from the Milwaukee Bucks. So the question, very simply put, starting the show, is what in the world does that mean? Well, to me, Kelvin, can I get some music back? Because I'm talking to the people. To me, Giannis, you messed it up. Giannis, you got it wrong. Giannis, you're to me a top 15 player of all time. And how in the world do you get rid of Jrue Holiday? How in the world do you get rid of Adrian Griffin, your head coach, who had you as a number 2 seed, and think that Dame Lillard is simply going to fix everything? See, with great power comes great responsibility, and heavy is the head that wears the crown. Giannis, you are the person that's wearing the crown. Giannis, you are the person that's the best player on the team. Giannis, you are the top 75 overall player. So when I think about the fact that Dame Lillard is no longer there, that now if you're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, that roster looks in totality depleted, I have to blame Giannis Antetokounmpo, because Giannis is the person who everything falls on. Remember, when LeBron James says he wants this player and he wants that player, when LeBron James says, yo, I want to make sure that I have Anthony Davis, he makes sure it works. And if it doesn't work, it's on LeBron James. When Kevin Durant says that he wants certain players, if it doesn't work, it's on Kevin Durant. So when Giannis, you say you want certain players, if it doesn't work, hey, Giannis, it is on you. I got to head to the desk. My brother, Will Blackman, is here. Now, Will, what's up, baby?
What's up, dog?
Will, it's your first time in the facility.
I feel like a visiting free agent. Like, I've never been here. You're showing me around, showing me what's going on. Like,
now, here's the thing. Visiting free agents, what they do as soon as they arrive in the facility, when you go to a workout, in case y'all don't know, viewers at home, the first stop you make is you go to the equipment room because you got to get fitted for a tire. It is obviously by the sweatshirt that you're wearing that you did not realize that you needed to dress up for the facility, sir.
when I come to the facility, this is what I wear. I know we were on a cruise ship. That's why I wasn't sure. I saw this outfit. I was like, you know, this is how I dress when I come to the facility. I don't know about y'all, but this is what I do.
Will Blackman, Super Bowl champion, 10-plus year NFL veteran, a close friend of mine, and obviously a friend of the facility. Will, let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo for a second here, because when I think about Giannis, I'm frustrated with him that it didn't work out in Milwaukee. Because sure, you could have suggested I want more from Dame, but Giannis knew what it took to win a championship. Dame Lillard did not. Dame had never won a championship before. Dame had only ever won 2 playoff series during a playoff run one time, going to the Western Conference Finals one time where he lost to the Golden State Warriors, and it wasn't particularly close. Giannis should have known, hey, it takes more than just stardom. It takes more than just big shot making. It takes what I call a janitor player. Somebody willing to do the dirty work, right. Somebody willing to do the dirty things. It takes a really good backcourt along with the really good front court. It takes guards that can play defense, not just guards that can score. That was Jrue Holiday. Anytime you're constructing any quality corporation, whether it's a business, whether it's a family, whether it's an educational system, whether it's a sports franchise, everybody has to be able to uniquely play their role. And if anybody's going to call out the truth, I got to call out Giannis because he did not construct that team properly. Whose fault is it in your mind for Giannis's early exit from Milwaukee?
For Dame's, I think I'm going to look at the front office because ultimately you're the one that's making the decisions. And I say that because they what they do is, yes, they're trying to please Giannis, you know, their franchise player. But what they did kind of mortgage the future of the Milwaukee Bucks. So now you bring in a guy who was high-level scoring, pretty much what Giannis needed, and then instantly in 2 years, all of a sudden we're done. I understand he had the Achilles, but here's the thing, too. Like, I don't believe he's washed at all. He's still productive. He did great things, averaging 25 points when he was there with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I just feel like why not just, you know, chill with Dame, let him rehab, come back, and you're going to get another high-level scorer.
But let me suggest this. Here, to me, is the why not. Because even the 2 years that the Milwaukee Bucks had Dame Lillard, one of the greatest players of the generation, a top 75 all-time player, a player who you could suggest single-handedly put the Portland Trail Blazers on his back to make playoff pushes, even when they had Dame, they weren't a good basketball team. even when they had Dame, I would suggest Giannis was still tasked to do too much because Giannis still had to play defense because even if Dame is on the court, Giannis isn't that primary defender. This is with Dame off the court, but I want to show y'all this, Reg, if you're sitting in the booth right there. I want to show y'all two plays because Giannis is tasked with both playing incredible defense and then also scoring. You'll see right here, this is Giannis having to score what would have been a game winner going up 103-99. But then the very next possession, now you got to guard Tyrese Halliburton to guard. Wait, make that make sense. So you got to score on offense, then you got to guard the best guard. Then, Giannis, you got to try to score to win the game, and you could turn around fadeaway, you fall short. Now we're in overtime. Tyrese Halliburton, down by 1. Why is Giannis Antetokounmpo a 6'11 individual that's a big on a 6'4 guard? Because the Milwaukee Bucks don't have the guards to guard the guards. When I think about it, you can take that off. Let me talk to Will for a moment. That's what Jrue Holiday was for.
No question, yeah.
You know what I mean?
As a Celtics fan, no question.
Like, that's what Jrue Holiday won a championship the year after he leaves Milwaukee. He goes and he wins one with the Boston Celtics maybe 2 years later. That's what Jrue Holiday was for. But when you try to go top-heavy and you try to acquire all these stars, you forget what it takes to build a roster. You say you blame the front office.
But that is why.
But Giannis is the best player.
He is the best player.
Isn't it don't superstar players sometimes act as the front office, in your opinion?
You do consult. For example, if I'm a general manager of a team and you are a star player, you come to me about, hey, we want to do this, we want to get certain guys, but I truly know with my experience as a GM, but this guy is the heartbeat and the soul. And so let's come to a common ground where we can agree on that. And so if I just budge and I give in to what you're asking for, and let me let go of a guy like that in Jrue Holiday, who ultimately just overall the complete package of an NBA player on and off the field. Let me get rid of the heartbeat and let me try to get you a high-level score that you want. I still made that decision. I still gave in to what you want.
Let me ask you this. Do you at minimum, because here's what I blame Giannis for being short-sighted. Oftentimes, even star players in the NBA, they get obsessed with stars. It's one thing if you at home, the fans do. It's another thing if I do. But oftentimes, even star players can get star-eyed. I remember walking into the Eagles facility, and then I saw Mike Vick. And I'm in the NFL, like Mike Vick's in the NFL. But I'm like, oh, snap, that's Mike Vick.
No doubt.
I'm sure Giannis was like, man, I've seen Dame do the Dame time thing.
So I walked into Green Bay. I saw Favre. I saw Charles Woodson. That was my first day at the facility. I saw them too. So, yeah, to your point, I understand that.
Do you blame Giannis for being short-sighted enough to get so enamored with Dame Lillard being an all-time scorer that he forgot what it takes to have other pieces elsewhere?
I think I would say he probably panicked a little bit in terms of okay, we did this. We won the championship in this way, but now I'm seeing all these guys pairing up with stars, and I want to get another high-level person here. I want to get another high-level star. So short-sighted and a little bit of panicking in that aspect, too.
All right, well, let's move on to another conversation because what's incredibly fascinating in the world of the NFL, a report came out that said that the Chiefs' offense, it should be as productive as ever. Remember, Chiefs' offense wasn't all that great last year. Though they went to the Super Bowl, they went there on the back of the defense. But NFL Insider says their offense can be electrifying this year, adding that they're healthy and they are fun to see. Will Blackman played 10 years in the NFL at defensive back. See, Will, I'm not super convinced just yet that the Chiefs offense is going to get back rolling. Here's why. For the first time, I was shocked when I heard this on my drive into work this morning. Andy Reid, for the first time in his career, back-to-back seasons with a 15th or worse ranked offense. So it's not just like this was a one-year anomaly. This is 2 years in a row that the Chiefs offense hasn't necessarily hit on all cylinders. You played defensive back, I played linebacker. Viewers want to bring you into an interesting conversation. When you think about it from a schematic perspective,
right.
Rashid Rice coming back from injury. Travis Kelce last year couldn't beat man-to-man one-on-one coverage. He got busy in zone coverage, but towards the end of the season, people realized just play a man with the safety, he can't win anymore. He's lost 25 pounds, we'll see. Offensive line, a second-round pick from last year, he couldn't play, you sent him to the bench. Your all-pro guard, Joe Thuney, you had to move him from guard, completely change positions, move him to offensive tackle because you didn't have an offensive tackle. You now moved on from Joe Thuney. Xavier Worthy, is he going to be Tyreek Hill or is he going to be Deshaun Jackson? Both incredible players, but different players. Deshaun Jackson, he's a goal ball guy.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill, he's going to give you 12, 13, 1,400 yards a year. Is Xavier Worthy going to mature into a full, bona fide 1,200-yard receiver, or is he going to be a big play gadget guy that runs reverses and runs now screens? Until we see how this offense matures, how can you as a 10-year defensive back who's won a Super Bowl and played at a high level and seen people play at a high level, Are you convinced, and how can you be?
Well, here's the thing. With all those concerns that you have or had, they still went 15-2. And yeah, we can say the defense played well. The offense only averaged 22 points a game to me, which is wild. But I'm 1,000% convinced, because here's the thing. When a team like the Kansas City Chiefs are having so much success in the past, half decade, teams are literally throwing every single piece of armor or weaponry at this offense. They're trying to find a way to stop arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So you're doing all these things schematically. And so, of course, every week, since you're getting everyone's best shot, it's going to be that challenge. But again, I go back to the health of the team. When I was playing, I always heard nothing is more important than the health of the team. And so with Kelsey dealing with injuries, obviously he looked sluggish and slow and still had 800 yards, which for any tight end, that's really, really good. For him, it was a down year. And then, you have a rookie receiver in Worthy who's trying to figure it out. Pacheco is not healthy, who is a bell cow when it comes down to it. And so now you're getting all these guys back, and you get smacked in the face in the Super Bowl. So everyone's coming back extremely motivated. And when you have somebody great like Mahomes, great like Travis Kelce, great like Andy Reid, great like Steve Spagnuolo, how do you inspire those guys? You give them something to be motivated about.
Let me say something that might seem inflammatory. I'm not convinced the Chiefs still have the players. Do they have the brilliant mind of Andy Reid? Absolutely. Yeah. Do they have a phenomenal quarterback in Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely. But you play defense, I play defense. 15 years or so in the NFL between us. I'm not convinced they have the players. Every week on defense, specifically on Wednesday of a game week, you go into your defensive meeting, as you know, not talking to you, talking through you to the audience, and you talk about who do you have to watch on offense that week? Right. Who are the guys you have to circle? Who do you have to put a star by? The Kansas City Chiefs, in my mind, no longer have a player on offense outside of the quarterback, and you never star the quarterback because they're a given. They don't have a player on offense that you have to put a star by. You no longer have to double-team Travis Kelce on third down because he hasn't shown you yet that he can still win. Yep. You do not have to double-team Rashid Rice coming back from an injury. We don't even know what he's going to do. Justin Watson out the building. You do not have to double-team, and you don't have to put a star by Xavier Worthy. You have to be mindful of his speed. Yep. ADB, maybe sit back at 8 yards, play off. Don't try to press this dude. He can win. But you do not have to double-team Xavier Worthy. There is no longer a player on the Kansas City Chiefs offense, Isaiah Pacheco included, that you are worried about as a defensive player. Players make plays from a weekly basis. The defense is what won them so many games last year. Who still scares you? You can't say Pat, he's the quarterback. Who still scares you on that Chiefs offense?
Yeah, well, I would say the formula for the Kansas City Chiefs, even when Tyreek left, has been receiver by committee. And it almost kind of reminds me of playing against the Patriots, right? There's this conversation of, like, amongst the NFL players, like, who's kind of more dangerous? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Tom Brady? And most people say Aaron Rodgers because of what he can do, his ability with the football. Brady was dangerous because what he can do schematically. And, yeah, the one time he had a all-out receiver in Randy Moss, yeah, obviously he cooked. And the same thing with Mahomes when he had Tyreek Hill. But the formula for the Kansas City Chiefs have been like, just give me a bunch of guys who can get yak. Give me a bunch of punt returners, right? Let me get the ball now to Tony. Let me get the ball now to Hollywood Brown. Let me get the ball now to Juju Smith. Let me get the ball now to these guys and work away at the field. So if you play 10 yards off, I got a punt returner that can get yak. And that's how it's been. Like, we go to the Super Bowl when they beat the Eagles. Sky Moore had a touchdown. Kadarius Toney had a touchdown. Yeah. Two guys that can get yak who are punt returners.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question. I'm going to state my thought process and ask it to you. Has the Super Bowl drought for the Kansas City Chiefs started? Here's why I suggest that. We all forget, in the midst of praising Tom Brady, which we absolutely should, the Patriots didn't win a Super Bowl for 10 years. From 2004 to 2014, they did not win a championship. They won 3, 10-year break, 3. Patrick Mahomes has already won his 3. Right. Are we in the midst of his 10-year hiatus? Why I'm suggesting that is the Eagles, from a roster perspective, are way, 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 way better than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Baltimore Ravens, from a roster perspective, are way, way, way better than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Buffalo Bills, from a roster perspective, are not way better than the Kansas City Chiefs, but they are starting to close the gap. The Chargers, they are up and coming. Jim Harbaugh, in his second year with the San Francisco 49ers, went to the Super Bowl. It's Jim Harbaugh's second year with the Los Angeles Chargers. Who knows what can happen? Has the drought begun for the Kansas City Chiefs, and is everybody just afraid to say it because it is sacrilegious to talk about Patrick Mahomes and it's sacrilegious to talk about Andy Reid? Has the drought begun?
No, hell no. This is crazy. A drought, not at all.
A Super Bowl winning drought. Not a good team drought, not a winning AFC playoff games drought, a winning championship drought.
No, they're still in contention, man. Every single year they're going to be. And again, just went 15-2, technically a down year for them, and they still went 15-2. Not at all, man. Again, this is the, I guess, the curse of being a good team. Like, how do I sustain it? That's why when people have the Patriot fatigue, when people have the Chiefs fatigue, like, I don't understand that, because it is so challenging to win in a National Football League. It is insanely difficult. I mean, I went to Super Bowl in 2011. I retired in 19. I sniffed a playoff once, playing that long. And it's so challenging. So for a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, like, to constantly be in contention, they just understand the formula. We had George Karlaftis on air yesterday when I was in studio, and he already's been to 3 Super Bowls. And we asked him, like, hey, was it important for you guys to play well because the offense had a down year? And his whole thought was, we don't even think about who had an up or down year, what have you. We're just trying to win games. Yeah. So in this point, yeah, we can talk about the stats. I'm sure Mahomes sees those things, and they need to improve. He knows that. But they're just in the business of they have the formula of winning games. And guys who know how to win, those are the ones that are consistently in it. And that's why, I have no concerns. None. With the Chiefs.
Hey, it's way easier to win, though, when your best player is on the court. When we return, Caitlin Clark has missed the last several games for the Indiana Fever with a groin injury. But remember, before the groin injury, there was a quad injury. Are we worried about the health of a superstar of the sports world right now, a star of a nation, one of the biggest stars of the generation, Caitlin Clark? But the injuries are starting to mount up. The Fever won. I get it, but that's without Caitlin. Don't forget, check us out every day, Fox Sports Channel, Sirius XM. There is no bigger star in the sports world right now than the woman on your screen. That is Caitlin Clark. Not that woman, albeit they did just win the Commissioner's Cup yesterday, beating the Minnesota Lynx, the Indiana Fever 74-59. They're still finding ways to get dubs, but in the midst of the winning, they are doing it without their star player. Bringing us on camera, the whole world has been talking about Caitlin Clark for several reasons. Does she deserve all the attention she's getting? Does she not deserve all the attention she's getting? Sitting here with Will Blackman, 10-year NFL vet, close friend of mine, even bigger friend. Well, bigger friend of mine than friend of the show. First time in the facility. Still trying to get him apparel for the facility, but that's neither here nor there. Will, I am concerned. Viewers at home, I'm concerned about Caitlin Clark, and I'm going to say something very honest. When you transition from college to a pro sport, you have to not only be able to handle it mentally, you have to be able to handle it physically. Correct. Caitlin Clark played roughly 100 games in high school, missed 1. Caitlin Clark played 139 games in college, missed none. She's played 16 games this season and has missed 8. The Fever have played 16. She's missed 8. Caitlin Clark emotionally, can she handle the WNBA? Absolutely. I don't think there is an individual in sports in the last 15 years that has had to take on more than Caitlin Clark. One, because of social media. It's bigger now than it has ever been. And also just because of what she is trying to do and had to do for the sake of the sport. The weight that she is carrying, both intentionally and incidentally, I don't think anybody has had to carry more weight. Emotionally, she's fine. Mentally, she's fine. Spiritually, I don't know. Physically, it's in question. Because they're 8-8, but you've missed 8 games. You missed the first 5 games with a quad injury. Right. You missed the last 3 games with a groin injury. Soft tissue injuries are injuries, based upon playing pro sports. Soft tissue injuries are injuries that are most preventable. Those are injuries that occur because of excess usage. Those are injuries that occur because maybe your kinetic chain is off. Those are injuries that occur because there's too much load on your body, either in practice or in games. She's had 2 injuries now. Both injuries are soft tissue injuries. She didn't turn on somebody's ankle. She didn't get elbowed into a rib. They're soft tissue injuries. I am now become worried about Caitlin Clark being able to sustain the pro rigors of the game, not because she's not a pro, not because she's not a dog, but because she's seeing a type of coverage, a type of press coverage, a type of full court press coverage, a type of blitzing, and a type of trapping that nobody has had to deal with at this early in their career. Are you worried yet about Caitlin Clark?
I would say I'm slightly concerned. I'm not worried because, as you mentioned, all the stuff historically, she's not fragile. She doesn't have a history of being injury prone, but her body is definitely sending her warnings. And I go back to like myself. When I was at Boston College, I played both sides of the football my senior year. So I was returning kicks, I was playing receiver, I was playing defensive back, I was logging sometimes 100 snaps a game. And I got it. I got through my college season just fine. In my entire college career, I missed one game my freshman year. I got kneed in the quad, ironically. And then I get to the NFL, and my very first day in training camp, all I did was I was covering Greg Jennings in the slot. I just turned, snapped my foot in half, and it was never injured. And for me, maybe it was just a freak thing, but I think because when I got there my rookie year, I never went through a training camp like that in my life. In Green Bay, we didn't do conditioning. Practice was conditioning. It was Mike McCarthy. It was a high-level offense, and I mean, it was straight NASCAR the whole time. Shout out to Fox. And so for me, it took me a minute to get acclimated because I was so used to doing the way I did things physically. And I think last year with Caitlin Clark, she intentionally, she talked about she was exhausted because from WNBA, from college, you go right to WNBA and you play immediately. And her playing style requires her to burn a lot of energy and be more susceptible to soft tissue injuries. And then clearly this offseason, she went to work and put in a lot of work so that she could sustain it. I go back to the NFL, now going into my second year. And this time of the year in the NFL, we go crazy. We want to come to training camp in tip-top shape. But sometimes when guys do too much physically, they come into camp in peak shape and there's really no room for any growth, or they truly fully haven't recovered. In high-performance training, as hard as you train physically, I learned you have to recover as much.
So what do you think the issue with Caitlin Clark is, or do you think there is no issue?
I think in her case, she just has to continue to adjust because as hard as you're going training-wise, and then you go to the court and her playing style, she's literally, it's like she's returning a punt because I'm sure someone's looking for her, someone's trying to find her, she's constantly running, she's constantly doing these things. That's probably why she's pulling up at half court. So she doesn't have to go all the way down and run the full offense. So for me, it's just now, she has to continue to be great in terms of taking care of her body. That's why we look at guys like LeBron, and it's so impressive for what he does, for the minutes he logs, for how explosive he is, for him to consistently be.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you talk about a guy like LeBron James and whatnot, he's physically imposing.
No question.
Caitlin Clark for the women's game is not physically imposing, which also begs the question of, can she sustain the grind? If it was A'ja Wilson and you're sitting there at 6'4", sturdy, I got no questions about A'ja. She can bang. Yeah. She's built to bang. She's big like that. Caitlin Clark is a average built, not too chiseled, not too cut, not overly athletic guard. That's what makes her special, because you're looking at her like, how can somebody do this? She doesn't look like Candace Parker. But two, that's what makes me concerned, because you're not that athletic. I'd
probably be more concerned about her training or whoever she's training with, more so than just her in general. Because again, due to her, she doesn't have an extensive injury history.
But at this point now she does. Right, you've missed 50% of the games, 16 games into the season. I believe the W, Matt or Rodney, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the W is only 40 games. It's not 82 like the NFL, so it's a 40-game season. So if you've already missed 8 out of 16, you're nearly 50% of the way through the season. At this point, you do have to start to wonder, are these injuries going to mount up? You're not injury-prone until you are. I'll say a name that everybody's familiar with, Dak Prescott. The long conversation early on in Dak Prescott's career was Dak is an injury-prone, while the person that was drafted in the first round, with Dak being drafted in the fourth round, Carson Wentz, he was. Divisional rivals, Carson Wentz, Eagles, Dak Prescott, Cowboys. And everybody always said, Carson's injury-prone. Remember, he never played and finished a playoff game because he had a concussion, because he had an MCL, because he had an LCL, because he had a shoulder injury. And Dak never gets hurt. But then you start to look at the last 5 years of Dak Prescott's career, calf injury, thumb injury, tore his hamstring off the bone, had a toe injury or a foot injury, something like that, or broke his leg, rather. All of a sudden, you're not injury-prone until you are. Caitlin Clark in high school only missed 1 game out of 100 games. Caitlin Clark in college plays 139 games out of 139 games. But then, Caitlin Clark, you get to the NFL, and now get to the WNBA, and now all of a sudden, you've missed 8 games out of 16 games. You've missed 50% of the games, and it's not going to get any easier on you. That's where my concerns lies. Even last year, what people don't realize, and it's not talked enough about, Caitlin Clark before the All-Star break, because last year she knew she needed a break, 17 points a game. But then after the All-Star break, 21 points a game. Caitlin Clark, even last year when she was healthy, she needed rest, much more so than the other WNBA players. Sure, she's not injury-prone, but how can you say, and do you have to start to say now at this junction in time, she might actually be becoming injury-prone?
Yeah, again, the numbers you gave me with Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz, you gave me years. Right now, we're talking about, single-digit games as of now. And it is concerning, right? When you have the quad injury, sure, compensation eventually being the groin injury. And here's the hard thing, too. When you do sustain a certain soft tissue injury, like, you're going to kind of have to alter your playing style. And for her, she's just all gas. Like, that's her style no matter what it is. And even her mindset how she plays, she's going to try to fight and play through it. So it's hard. It will be hard for her to adjust it because the three ball is such an important, integral part of her game. And also moving and assist and being a true on dynamic playmaker, like, that's a huge situation. So for her, it's going to be hard for her to adjust her game based on the injury. So it's going to be big on her, again, physically addressing her needs so that she can continue to play her playing style. Even when she has a certain injury, she's going to have to do that.
Very thorough. Speaking of important and integral, nobody more important and integral to their team than T.J. Watt. He's in the midst of a contract dispute with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. I would suggest the best defensive player in football over the last 5 to 10 years. But does he deserve better from his team? That's next in the facility. Steelers made a lot of moves this offseason, but they have not given their superstar T.J. Watt a new contract. Watt skipped minicamp and is reportedly unhappy with his current contract situation. Bringing us on camera, Will Blackman still here. Shady McCoy now joining us in the building. Will, let me ask you this. T.J. Watt, one of the best defensive players in all of football, Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. I feel like the Steelers should have already paid him, made him the highest paid defensive player in football, surpassing that of Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. T.J. Watt, I still think currently is the best defender playing, followed closely by Myles Garrett. And if you say it's Myles Garrett, I will not dispute you at all whatsoever. Is it safe to say T.J. Watt deserves better from the Steelers?
First of all, my dog, what's up, man? Good to see you, man.
What's up, dog? Happy to see you, my brother.
Hey, man, it's been a minute. Deserve better. I think they're going to get a deal done. I mean, he's clearly the best player on the team, has been for a long time. And I just feel like right now, yes, Max got his money, Myles got his money, and this kind of a standoff with Hendrickson and Micah and TJ. I feel like right now that's what's happening. That's the standoff because there's no reason for them not to. Now, we can say the management doesn't do anything because he's currently under contract. So clearly, they don't have to do anything. He could sit there at I think he's making 21 this year. But he deserves all the money he's going to get. But right now, I'm looking from a big perspective. Like, there's definitely a standoff. It's almost like Micah's waiting for Henderson to get paid, and then TJ's probably waiting for Mike to get paid. So eventually, he's going to get his money. It's just right now, they don't have to do anything. And I feel like that TJ's camp's kind of waiting to see what everyone else is doing.
I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, y'all all play this game. Y'all know how this thing works. It takes time. Listen, first of all, to answer the question, right, I'm going to say no. He doesn't deserve better. You know why? Because his job is going to get done. But this is going to get done. If I look at Aaron Donald, right, all the Bosa brothers, I look at Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett had to say, you know what, I want to go to a winning team to be happy, right? They paid him. Ezekiel Elliott, he had to go get montage down in the Bahamas so he get a deal. Everybody goes to these issues. Micah Parsons, you think he's happy right now? He got a deal done? He's from Harrisburg. That's where I'm from. So I can tell you, no,
he's actually in camp, though. That's the good thing. Like, he came to work.
You got to play the politics. But he don't want to be there. He want to get his money. So every superstar other than the quarterbacks go through this. So he'll be all right.
He'll be all right, but at what point do you get annoyed? Like, Shady, you've been in these situations. You became the highest paid running back in all of football. At what point is it taking too long? And also, it's like, don't make me beg for my bread. Especially if I'm T.J. Watt, I shouldn't have to beg for my bread. I think about how the Niners did Christian McCaffrey, as opposed to how the Niners did maybe Trent Williams. Christian McCaffrey, who had an all-pro season. He was Offensive Player of the Year following 2 seasons ago. And very quietly, the Niners repaid Christian McCaffrey. As opposed to Brandon Ayuk. Hey, can I get my money, please, Trent Williams? Can I get my money, please? You shouldn't have to, if you're T.J. Watt, have to really beg for your bread. Myles Garrett, you could suggest he had to beg for his bread because he had to put out that whole statement, I want to go win championships. Yeah. But the Browns paid him, I think, within a week or two. So, T.J., at what point, Shady, because you've been in these situations, is it taking too long? Why are we going into camp? I've been the best player.
Listen. Aaron Donald's one of my main guys.
Of course.
My boy, one of my best friends. And he's like, yo, can you believe that the Rams didn't really they wanted to pay me, but they dragged their feet. Everybody goes to this. This is not T.J. Watt's first time getting his paper. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. He had to wait before. You forgot? He had to wait before to get his money. So my thing is, sometimes it takes a little longer. I'm okay with it. All the best players that I know when you going to get your second big deal, your third big deal, they take time. And the owners, they try to find little small ways not to pay all the money you deserve. But you got to do certain things. You know, I had a conversation with Jacobs from the Packers. Josh Jacobs, right? And we're not going to his business, but we on TV. You know, TV, we like to run our mouth. So anyway, and I'm like, yo, man, you deserve your money with the Raiders. You are one of the best running backs. You led the NFL in rushing. Why you didn't get your money yet? He said, well, they didn't give me an offer. So I'm sitting there like, well, what did you do? Did you say something? And you don't want to like the bad guy because you got the fans, right? The fans are on your side. But soon you start talking about money, like, oh, he's been an individual. No. So when you look at TJ Watt, he ain't really said nothing to the public. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really say much because he thinks the deal's going to get done. I think if he says something immediately like, hey, man, I ain't happy right now. You know, I'm the best player in the squad, which y'all all know. I want this type of money. I think there might be some little speed to getting a deal done if he says something like that. But if he don't, I think he knows that the deal's going to get done eventually. And I think that when you want something like that, it takes time. This ain't a $10 million deal, Acho. This is probably the biggest defensive.
40 almost.
You know what I'm saying?
More than it should be.
So if you won't wait, if I told you, you know what, Acho? I got a lottery ticket for you, dog. Right here in my pocket. And all you gotta do is wait a little bit longer for this lottery ticket. Or I got some money in the other pocket. It's not a lottery ticket. It's good $20 million, though. You know, you can feed the family, the kids.
At worst, you're getting $20 million.
Look, would you take that right away, the immediate $20 million?
I'm waiting, or I'm saying,
Watt.
don't move me to another team because they willing to give me the lottery ticket right away.
No.
What?
No.
Why no?
Move to another team? He's not going nowhere.
He hasn't won a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken, with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's not going anywhere.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Unless you're going to rebuild the Steelers, like, you ain't moving him.
So if you know you're not moving him, why not just give him the lotto ticket?
Because I look at this situation, it's similar to, go back to 2007 with Strahan. You know, he was willing to he set out the entire training camp to get paid. And it's funny, you talk to him now, he said, had I known if it's going to cost me $200,000 just to get paid, he goes, I'd do it every year. Every year. So there's nothing wrong with being patient. Another elite pass rusher. He knows, like I said, TJ knows he's going to get paid. So right now, like Shady mentioned, this is how it goes. It's a standoff. I need to see what he's going to do. I need to see what he's going to do because maybe someone goes crazy and resets the market with their defensive end. Because Danielle Hunter got paid, who TJ Watt should get more than.
Then Max got paid.
Max Crosby got paid, who he should get more than.
Then Miles got paid.
And then Miles, who he believes he should get more than, and most people could agree to that.
I think he should. He's the next one up. Next one up. No matter who's better.
And then Micah's up. So it's just a matter. He's just sitting back, waiting to see what them two are going to do. So not just deserves better, he's going to get better.
If you're TJ Watt and you've been in Pittsburgh for 8 years, going on 9, I don't think they've won a playoff game. I think the last playoff win was in 2016.
It's been bad.
I may be wrong. It's been a long time. So haven't won a playoff game in your entire tenure. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're a 5-time All-Pro, a 4-time first team All-Pro. At what point do you want out? Or do you just want to sit there and never win anything?
Real quick. Have you been to Pittsburgh lately?
Never.
Have you been to Cleveland lately?
Yes.
When last time you been to Cleveland?
3 years ago.
Oh, that's not recent. But anyway.
I went to Pittsburgh last year.
If you talk about TJ Watt in Pittsburgh, bro.
You thought he played in the 70s.
Come on now. You go to Cleveland, you talk about Myles Garrett. Come on. So sometimes like you want to go to a winning team, but when you're such a freaking legend already there, it's hard to leave. So my thing is they're going to make the money right because they don't want to lose TJ Watt. It's bigger than just the Steelers. You know, in Pittsburgh, the football players there, all the legends, the great players, they are worshipped there. He ain't leaving there. And he started a lot of that stuff.
And his family's there, like everybody's
And the last thing is you know the money's coming.
Yeah.
The money gonna come. It's just a matter of the date you want.
Right.
I wanted July. I might not get it till the end of July. I've been there.
But how hard is it to play a game if you know you do not have a legitimate chance at winning? TJ Watt's not an idiot. At this point in time, he has to understand, and maybe with Aaron Rodgers, whom we'll talk about later, he might think there's a legitimate chance of winning. Every year, Shady, you laced up the cleats outside of maybe 2014 when Nick Foles got hurt and Michael Vick was hurt, and we started that season with the quarterback kind of carousel, if you will. Outside of that, I'm sure every year you took the field, you're like, McNabb, I can win a chip. Brady, I can win a chip. Pat, I can win a chip. Vic, I can win a chip. Will Blackman, you're saying Aaron Rodgers, I can win a chip. Brett Favre, I can win a chip. Eli Manning, I can win a chip. TJ Watt is not in the similar situation y'all are in. He has a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
But
before that, he had Russell Wilson. He had Kenny Pickett. He had Justin Fields. He had Mason Rudolph. He had Mitch Trubisky. I don't think TJ Watt is looking at himself saying, I can win a chip. How hard is it to play the game knowing that's not within the realm of possibility?
He's looking right now. First of all, Aaron's not coming there knowing that TJ's not going to be there. I'm sure that has been discussed. They're going to figure it out. But if I'm TJ, I'm looking over. I see a 41 Aaron Rodgers. He's still the best quarterback I had in a long time. Yeah. And then also you see them get Jalen Ramsey. You get Darius Slay. You get all these guys. So you're like, there's no reason for me to leave. He's going to get paid. It's just a matter of, like you said, just win. And if he got to chill, he got to chill. Here's the thing. He can miss as much time as he needs to and still go in there and cook.
Last thought, Shady?
No, I'm thinking you saw championships. What year did he win? I forget what year he won. He was player of the year.
2021.
Yeah. If I had to bet and gamble that he thought he was going to win a championship, he's probably said no. Mm-hmm. Do your job, dog. We all want to win championships, but your job is to get sacks.
Hey, right now, the Knicks have no head coach to do a job because they're still searching for one. But along that search was Dawn Staley, a phenomenal coach in college women's game of South Carolina. But the Knicks have passed on her. They passed on what would have been the first woman to be a head coach in the NBA. Is that a mistake? We're going to go there.
Wow.
The Knicks reached out to South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley for their head coaching job. A report says she impressed them during the conversation, but she's currently not considered a finalist for the job. It would have been shocking, a head coach, a woman, coaching professional men's sports in the NBA. It would have been shocking. Dawn Staley, though, one of the greatest coaches in women's basketball history. I believe she's a 4-time champion. I think she's gone to the Final Four maybe 7 or so times. She is an absolute dominant phenom of a basketball coach, regardless of what gender. But, Shady, it would have been something to have a woman coaching men in the NBA. So is it a mistake that the Knicks passed on?
I'll say it's a mistake, right? Because we don't know who's going to be the head coach, right? We might, somebody tomorrow be really, really good, and we're all excited about it. But I will say this. With Dawn Staley, first of all, she's a Philly girl. But more of like sometimes, I guess, in dominant sports, even in football, I was blessed to play with Bruce Arians, and we had some female coaches. And you don't know how that works out because this is a dominant, male sport. And some of them females, super smart. They're just not giving out.
Was it the Case Hours that was there?
Come on now. Yeah. Oh, you know what's going on. Yeah, so then I look at even basketball, right, where women and males can play that sport. But I'm thinking about what type of female could be a head coach. Mm-hmm. You talk about a female that was a dog when she played, right? You see her as a coach, she's a dog. And I think one thing of a woman coming into a man's sport is you got to have that attitude and that fire in you, and she has it. And I think if there's a woman for a job to coach men basketball, it would be Dawn Staley. So I would love to see this, how this thing worked out, because I think in New York City, it's not too big for her. She's been in the spotlight forever, right? And she's a winner, and she's winning championships. And she was a great player. So I think that message would have been easier coming from her to the men's basketball. It didn't work out. But I'm waiting to see who the Knicks decide to hire the next coach.
I agree with Shady on that. If it could have been any woman, it should have been Dawn Staley. Because I think the temperament she has, and even Shady, I said this when you weren't here, if it's any team, it could have been the Knicks. Because the Knicks are a team of just kind of like humble, mild-mannered, chill dudes. Josh Hart, chill dude. OG Anunoby, well-respected, chill dude. Mikal Bridges, chill dude. Jalen Brunson, chill dude. Kat's the only kind of interesting character, but based on everything Kat says about his late mother and Kat says about her significant other, Kat's a super respectful man as it pertains to women. So the Knicks made a lot of sense. But I don't think it was a mistake. Because regardless, if you hire a woman as a head coach in the NBA, it's going to cause a lot of attention. So now, is it worth all the attention it's going to cause? Anytime you hire somebody that's an outlier, they're going to take up the oxygen in the room. So now are they worth taking up that oxygen? Are there so few men that could coach the Knicks as an equal or better level that you have to go get Dawn Staley? If there are, by all means, go get Dawn Staley. But I don't know if it would have been worth the distraction because I'm thinking about this. Colvin, do we have that clip? I'm thinking about y'all remember when Jimmy Butler got into it with Eric Spoelstra, Heat game, sideline. I want y'all to see it as a viewer. How would this have been if Eric Spoelstra's now Dawn Staley? Eric Spoelstra's a man. So a man yelling at a man, shut the F up, you a B, you would shut the F up, don't talk to me like that. That's all fine when it's a man yelling at another man. But let it be a man yelling at a woman. Now what's that narrative?
That's a good one.
Now let 6'6" Jimmy Butler be yelling at maybe 5'10" or so Dawn Staley. Now what's the narrative? Now we're going on TV the next day and that was sexist, that was misogynist, now all of a sudden issues that aren't issues in that world of sport become greater issues. I remember one time, 2-5, I was talking about Angel Reese. I said she a dog in the paint. She a dog down low. Everybody was starting to message me, Emmanuel, how dare you refer to Angel Reese as an animal? That is so rude of you calling her. I said, y'all don't understand the sports jargon? No, she a dog is like a compliment. And so I don't think it would have been necessary to hire Dawn Staley unless you think she's better than everybody else.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a mistake. This was a tactical and a strategic thing to bring her in and interview her. as you mentioned, like Dawn Staley, not just as a basketball coach, but she is a pioneer just in the sport of basketball in general. And so when you do bring in a coach like Dawn Staley, you know, you're interviewing her because you're trying to gather more information because of what she did, because of her leadership, because of her skills, because of what she can do, how she is a coach, a motivator, how she inspires all these women and just basketball players in general. And also, too, you want to build a network and build a relationship with this person because you never know down the line. Right now, it was a mistake because the Knicks, where they are basketball-wise, they're in a win-now situation. And so if you do go ahead and hire someone like a Dawn Staley, then you're pretty much starting over because you just don't believe what you have right now is ready to go. And so that's why you have names like Mike Brown, who was on the list of guys who have been, you know, obviously he is a four-time championship as a coach, assistant coach as well. You have those guys on the list because that's who you believe your team needs right now. So it wasn't a mistake, but it was definitely, on her part, it was earned. She earned that interview, no question about it. But I just believe that the New York Knicks were just doing their due diligence, maybe learning something more from her. Perhaps if they hear that message from another coach, they're like, okay, we got something similar.
Well said. I'm happy they didn't know because you fired your coach, your last coach who was really, really good and accomplished, right? 25 years since you've been in Eastern Conference Finals and you fire him?
Right.
Dawn, you go where you at, girl.
Exactly right. Keep winning wherever you are. Hey, transitioning or staying in the NBA, the Bucks waiving 9-time All-Star Damian Lillard after 2 seasons in Milwaukee. They're suggesting Golden State could be his next destination. That's what some reports are saying. Well, the Warriors, they are interested, and they have reached out to Dame Lillard. So, Shady, you the Bay Area fan, you're the Warriors fan. Right. Should Steph want to team up with Dame?
No. First of all, they both old. Now, we both has got these old guys. Somebody eventually got to take a break, right? And I'm Steph Curry, my favorite player, but somebody got to play some defense. Yeah. The one thing with Steph Curry I love about him is he's going to give you effort, right? We talk about defense with Luka. Luka don't give you the effort. Steph will give you the effort. Just happens that that's not his best attribute. Playing defense ain't really his thing. And is Lillard going to play defense?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, so now everybody in our backcourt is 6'2" or 6'3" and down? How we can't, no. I mean, I like Dame, and he's hurt.
You say he wouldn't want to play with him, or he shouldn't?
Both. Both. Because, like, he might love Dame because Dame can score, but somebody got to play some defense. Some defense. We're talking about winning a championship. These next couple years for Steph Curry, it ain't about the stats. It ain't about the money. He's trying to win.
Yeah.
One thing about winning championships is you look for that next piece to win a championship. Draymond Green last year talked about it. When they got Jimmy Butler, he kept saying, yeah, everybody watch out. We going to the chip. And everybody's like, slow down, Draymond, you tripping. But when you're a champion, you know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. And when they got Jimmy, they were on that route. Now, Steph got hurt, so the plans changed, obviously. But if Steph plays there, I could see them in Western Conference Finals. When you get Dame Lillard in the building, I just don't know what that looks like. And he's coming off an Achilles injury, and he's 37, correct?
Yeah, he's going to be 35.
35. And I love Dame. Dame's phenomenal. But I'm thinking, for this team, for this fit, I don't think it fits for Golden State.
I agree with Shady. It makes no sense for several reasons. Because of the nature of Dame's injury, y'all know what we're not talking about? Steph finished the season hurt, too. Little hammy. You know what I mean? Like, Steph finished the season hurt, too. Age is something, and it's not just that Steph finished it hurt. How'd he finish it hurt? A soft tissue injury. A hamstring going up for a rebound, I think.
36.
Like, that's a 36-year-old injury. That's a I'm old injury. You're not pulling your hammy at 26. You're not doing it at 22. You ain't even got to stretch at 22. You just straight get up out of bed and you can go play ball. You can go do whatever you want to do. So why would you want to partner up those two individuals? And Shady said it perfectly. It's almost like having duplicates. Unfortunately,
which is a good thing.
I asked the Phoenix Suns, asked the Los Angeles Lakers.
I do. The reason why I'm glad you said a duplicate because, right, Steph is doing too much. And you get two guys who have been two of the top 3 premier shooters, Klay Thompson there, of the past decade. Maybe they're not playing as much. Maybe Steph is in there doing his thing, and then, okay, we need to cut some of his minutes down, and then you bring in the Dame, who, again, go in there and do his thing, get buckets as well, too. And so they're not playing as much.
But y'all remember, go ahead, Trevor.
Real quick, Will. So this basketball thing, I know you see me on that football field, but my real sport is basketball, right? When you watch the playoffs, right?
that laugh was funny.
You watch this playoffs, let this win down, right? All the smaller guards, did they attack him? I'll help you out. Brunson can score at will, right?
Yep.
But when Boston or other teams or the Pacers needed a bucket, who they go after? Go after Brunson. Steph Curry, as good as he is, in the playoffs, who does the team go after? Steph. You want to try to find, like, who's the weaker, defensive opponent, right? Because now it's not a 82-game season where we're just going from this city, that city. Now it's a playoff. We're locked in. Now we can game plan. And when you game plan, you go after the smaller guards. That's how it works. So now if you got Steph on one side, you got Lillard on the other side. We're going to get a lot of offense, a lot of threes.
Correct.
But eventually, somewhere we got to play defense.
But even at Shady's point, though, here's what's curious, because as Will was talking, I'm like, okay, if Will's suggesting that Dame comes off the bench, I'm like, okay, now I'm listening, right? Now I'm listening.
That's what I'm suggesting.
If you're suggesting they come off the bench, I'm listening. But then I said, wait a second, we just saw this. We don't talk about it at all. Chris Paul, much different player. But remember, Chris Paul went to the Warriors last year. But the adjustment of a future first-ballot Hall of Famer, and I would suggest Chris Paul is probably better at what he does than Dame Lillard is at what he does if you're talking about the entire body of work of their careers. At the point in which a superstar Hall of Famer has to come off the bench, how's that going to work out? And y'all remember Chris Paul was not super happy with his tenure in Golden State, and it didn't really work. So though Dame, I'm very curious to see when Dame comes back off an Achilles
he just got hurt.
Like, I'm very curious to see how that works. But if Dame comes off the bench, would it even work? Because I don't think they can start. That's where I'm with Shady. Yeah. You can't have Dame and Steph, two suspect defensive guards, would be 37 years old. You can't have that as your backcourt and think you're going to win anything substantial.
It's like in football, man. Like, you get a guy who can always, okay, look, Darius Slay. He can run. He can be a 4-3 for the rest of his life. And he's still getting paid. He's still getting hired because he can run. As a DB, as long as you can run, you're always going to get a job. That is certified facts. In basketball, if you can still shoot, you can still get a bucket, you're going to get a job. That's why they went and got Buddy Hill. Buddy Hill can still shoot. Buddy Hill will always be able to shoot.
But coming off the bench, remember, Klay Thompson in Golden State during that last era, because he could shoot but he couldn't play defense, eventually Klay, hey, you're going to have to come off the bench. Because you can still have a job, but you can't have a job as a starter.
Yeah, but then...
even starting, right? So I'm not, like, big on the whole starter thing, because in basketball I'm learning that. Because who closes the game out, right? I've seen guys like Lou Will, I've seen guys like Lamar Odom, like, they gonna close the game out. They kind of like our starters. Iguodala, he didn't start, but he gonna play a lot of minutes. So if Lane don't start, right, and then, he's doing this thing off the bench, which is gonna be hard to tell Dame Lillard.
Correct. That's the thing.
Phenomenal.
That's the thing.
And you and Steph been going at it for years. Now you go.
Now it's like,
I don't think it would happen, but
let's take the ego part of that, because Dame's a smart kid. Take the ego part out of it. So now we closing the game out. Now, you know the Warriors, like I know the Warriors. They do a lot of small ball. Yeah, we like to go small. That's our advantage. So we gonna go small, and we gonna go out there and get Dame Lillard at the 2 or the 1 with Steph. You know how hard it's gonna be? And we in the West. We ain't in the East. We in the West. Listen, good luck. And that's my team. That is my team. Mm-hmm. Don't do it. I love Dame, but don't.
I'm not advising. The question is,
if it happens,
if it happens, I'm not mad at it.
I feel it.
Even when we did Chris Paul, I was upset about it, because we're last time.
I ain't no sense about that.
When you have a team, you need your superstars, but you need them type of role players.
Yes.
Right. That's why Luka. They talk all that want about Luka, but the teams he play on, they make sure they got enough size and defense for him to cover up what he can't do. Don't mess around with this thing, man. Seriously.
Hey, when we return, speaking about free agent moves, there have been a number of NBA superstars that have seen new players on their team and players leave their team in the midst of the free agency frenzy. So how should teams, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James, how should the stars feel about their offseason?
I got a bone to pick with you with KD.
Doesn't everybody?
Even him.
NBA free agency, it is in full swing. So we need to see how some of the superstars in the league feel about their team's moves. It's time for Emoji Mayhem. If y'all watch the show, this is the best part of it. Starting with the Houston Rockets. Y'all know the blockbuster trade they made for Kevin Durant. They also added Clint Capella and Dorian Finney-Smith.
Size?
But they lost Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks.
Oh, you see how they played the playoffs.
JD, how should the Rockets feel how should KD feel about the Rockets?
Anytime we talk about Kevin, these are sharp. These are new. Okay. Anytime we talk about Kevin Durant, we need to talk about a superstar. Okay, as Ron Chase, put that one wrong. Same thing, same meaning. He is a superstar, and he deserves to be treated as such. You go out there, you get some size, you get some defense. They were number 2 seed last year. Now you got the god, Kevin Durant. Okay, watch out in the West. You better watch out.
He has to be excited. Got to be excited because, like Shady talked about, for the first time you could say in Kevin Durant's tenure since leaving the Warriors, he has a complete roster. Like when he went to the Nets, say what you will, and I've said a lot, the roster had several holes. When he went to the Suns, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, they're the same players, several holes. Now he's going to a team with a complete roster. Got to be excited.
KD. Nose breathing emoji. Let's go. Let's go. They're going all in, building around him. Ime understands him. By the way, KD, I know you got smoke on this show. I'm a fan. Just let you know that. Like, KD, my dog, right here. What is that?
Look, all right, text him that.
KD ain't
I'll try to get beef with your boy.
I love you, Kevin. All right, moving on to the Lakers. They have added forward Jake. Larivia. All right, Colvin, you took 10 minutes to tell me. You knew I didn't know his last name, so don't get mad at me. All right, they lost Dorian Finney-Smith. How should LeBron James feel?
I mean, they didn't add much. I mean, nobody really knew his name.
Who is Jake Larivia?
He worked for State Farm. No.
Well.
But you know what? Hey, I ain't gonna do that. If you made it to the pros, you deserve some type of respect. LeBron's happy with the shades. You see I left him on. I mean, he just signed a $52 million? Hey, man, hey. I let Blake figure that thing out, man. I got that paper.
Can I rock these? He's thinking right now. He just opted into his 52 mil. And he's looking right now who's available. We missed out on all these big centers. Who's available? So I think right now he's just waiting to see what other moves are gonna make. He's thinking. He's real. He's just thinking. He's watchful.
Who is Jake Larivia?
I watched him before, though. Now, look, one thing about this kid, he loves his teammates. He supports his teammates. I watched him on that bench, dog. You know what I mean? We all been there before.
Don't be like that, Emmanuel.
I gotta zip him out.
Yes, you do.
Who's Jake Larivia?
No, don't do that.
You don't be like that, man.
Don't be like that.
Who is it? Anyway, Steph Curry. They haven't added anybody, but they did lose Kevon Looney. I know who that is. Shady, how's your Steph Curry feel about the Warriors' moves?
I ain't talking, he ain't talking. What we trying to do, man? What we doing? I keep hearing these whispers. We might do this. We ain't doing nothing yet. So I ain't talking, he ain't talking. Steph don't do no crying. You got the wrong player.
No, he should. He might not be a crier, but he should. Kevon Looney, number one on the basketball court from the pick and roll game. I don't think there's anybody who could set screens as well for Steph Curry and truly knew outside of Draymond Green still on the roster, who knew how Steph liked to play the game and where Steph wanted to be. Also, Looney was kind of an integral piece, you could suggest, of that championship 2022. I mean, he is their janitor player. The guy does the dirty work. I'm crying.
He passes.
Where do you go, New Orleans? That we went, Looney?
But he got some money. Shout out to Looney. He got some
Steph.
money.
Why is he saluting?
Carry the team again. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
Stand up, motivated.
I hear you,
10
Will.
toes down,
I hear you.
62 mil.
Okay, let's move on. Jalen Brunson. The Knicks have added Jordan Clarkson, but they haven't had any losses to the roster. 2-5. How should Brunson feel?
I like the roster already. You got some Eastern Conference Finals. It's been 25 years. Put these back on, please. You know, and Clarkson, he's a scorer. So when you come off the court, now you got somebody going to get you some buckets. So now we got to worry about you playing all these minutes. I like it.
That's tough.
I ain't.
That man's so dramatic.
How you doing that?
They don't have a head coach.
He's so dramatic.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's a poop job over there? Okay.
I have a head coach. I mean, the candidate's going to come and do it. Listen, man,
I thought I farted or something.
he should feel empowered, you know, especially him.
They don't have a head coach.
It's all good, man.
Kyrie Irving before said, we don't need no head coach.
It's all good. Listen, he feels empowered. He's a certified all-star. He's good.
The Denver Nuggets have made the most intriguing moves in my mind outside of the Kevin Durant trade this offseason. They added Cam Johnson and Tim Hardaway Jr., along with Bruce Brown, former champion with the Nuggets.
Shady.
But they lost Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric. Colvin, if you don't start putting names on this freaking prompter that I know, who is Dario Saric?
Oh, you shoot threes. He ain't bad.
Who is Dario Saric?
Yeah.
I've never heard of Dario. I've never heard of him. I've never heard of him. Michael Porter Jr., they also lost. I know him. Dario was not in the rotation last year.
I wasn't.
I don't know. Why did you? He's not notable. Anyway, Shady.
You treat the backups nice. Why you
Shady McCoy.
How should
I'm on the set today.
How should Nikola Jokic feel about the
I'm thinking like my favorite auntie, right? When her hair was scratched, she'd be like, that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking, like, what are we doing? Because Michael Porter Jr. is a great shooter, and he's like 6'10".
What are we doing?
Listen, I'm a Cam fan because I'm a North Carolina fan.
Oh.
I wouldn't have made that trade.
Bro, when that hair under that wig start itching and it's...
Because she thinking, like...
Can I
itching and she thinking...
So what's your... Okay, you go, Acho.
I'm thinking. Cam Johnson's a solid player. Michael Porter is Jekyll and Hyde. You have no idea who he's going to be on any given night. Michael Porter, I think, is one of the most unique players in the game. I don't know nobody who has a basketball stroke like that at that height, but simultaneously, he disappears too much. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm sweating as in like, whew. Like, can we get that roster back up, please? The moves that they acquired, Tim Hardaway Jr., you bring back Bruce, who was on the championship team. You get Giannis. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm like, whew, I'm glad they made some moves. I'm glad they got some defense. I'm glad they got some depth. I'm glad we got people around me so we can go ahead and compete for another title.
Moving on, Giannis Antetokounmpo ending here. The Bucks additions. Now, these players we all know. Okay, right, thank you. Miles Turner was on the Pacers team that went to the championship. They added him. They added Gary Harris, but they lost Dame Lillard. They lost Brook Lopez. They lost Pat Connaughton. He was on the championship team. Katie, how should Giannis feel about the Bucks moves?
Now, listen, sometimes he shades me, you're cool. When I put my shades on, I'm pissed off. He's mad. He's cursing at his kids. He's cursing at everybody in the household. Sit your butt down. You be mad? Oh, you don't got kids, but you know what I'm talking about. All my championship players out of my team, they all gone. All the superstars, they gone.
Why did you put on the shades to be angry? It doesn't make any sense.
Because sometimes you don't want to talk to anybody. Like, when I'm at the airport, I don't want to talk to nobody. I just do this.
But you're not mad.
You never know. I don't want to talk to nobody.
The usage of the prop didn't make any sense.
No, when I'm mad, right, I put the shades on, I want to talk, I'm pissed off.
Like, I'm angry, but I don't have to put my glasses on.
Think about post-game interviews when guys wear shades on.
But you don't wear dark shades, though.
That's fair.
I wear dark shades in the shower.
I bought some movie shades because of you. You inspired me.
Yeah, I wear dark shades everywhere. You know what I mean?
I'm angry as well. I'm angry.
I'm nervous. I know he feels torn because he wanted more help, but he loses Dame. He's nervous. Extremely nervous.
That's fair.
Hey, Will, before we leave, because somebody makes an excuse for this guy all the time, Giannis. So if Giannis doesn't do well this year...
I cooked Giannis at the top of the show.
I don't believe
he did.
I don't believe it. I gotta see
it. He did.
How did you say?
Yeah.
Everything.
Was it like Kevin Durant?
He went after his own, man.
I did.
Because he hate on Kevin Durant, but give Giannis a whisper.
I cooked Giannis at the top of the show.
Be like, Giannis could be back next year. What?
Hey, when we return, Caitlin Clark is injured right now. She's injured right now. So when is it time to start worrying about her being injury prone? That's next on Facility.
I know Angel Reese is starting to ball now.
She is. Moving on to Caitlin Clark. In the WNBA, the Fever, they won the Commissioner's Cup yesterday, but they did so without Caitlin Clark, with her watching from the bench. Caitlin Clark has missed 8 games so far this year out of the 16 that they have played. Not good. Currently sidelined with a groin injury. Shady, starting with you, me and Will had a conversation quickly earlier in the show. When is it time to start worrying about Caitlin Clark?
What are we worrying about? What are we worrying about?
Nathan.
I mean, we talking about the Messiah here, somebody that saved the game. Injuries?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about because you've been hurt a lot, right?
Yeah,
you been
all the time.
12 surgeries.
I ain't really get hurt, and I ain't really work out that much.
12 surgeries? You gonna just jump by that?
You got 12?
Yeah, I just look like this.
That's a lot. Did you work out hard?
Nah, I just didn't take care of myself early in my career.
Okay, I didn't either. I ain't never get hurt. Everybody's different. That's what I'm talking about. She has a groin injury. She had a hamstring. Like these are small injuries. These are guys when 20 years old can get these same injuries. I can see if it was, knock on wood, torn ligaments or things like that. It's not that. First of all, let's just go down her history because every time she's brought up, I like to be factual. I like to get all my facts and ducks in line. So, she played about 100 high school games. Ladies and gentlemen, she's only missed 1 game. Mm-hmm. She played 139 college games. How many games do you think she missed, fellas?
0.
0. Last year, rookie season. It's hard as a rookie. You carrying the WNBA on your back, on your shoulders.
You play right after.
You must have got hurt. How many games she missed last year? 0. So this year, in her second year, she's missed some games from small injuries. You know what that is, fellas? That's being an athlete. That's being professional sports. You are going to get injured. That's what happens. Things you can guarantee in life, one day this thing was going to be over with.
Yep,
that means that life thing, one day God's going to call you.
Talk about it.
You got to pay taxes.
Got to, and if you don't.
And the last thing is, if you play professional sports,
you're going to get hurt.
You're going to get injured. So this is all part of the process.
It is part of the process. The problem is, though, for some people, it's a bigger part of the process than for others. Shady never got hurt. I always got hurt. 8 years, 4 years college, 4 years pro, I got hurt 7 of them 8 years. So some people are just more injury prone than others. To Shady's point, I don't think Caitlin is injury prone, but when I start to see too many soft tissue injuries, 2-5, I got to ask myself why. She got a groin, she got a quad. Yeah, I got 2 in 4 weeks.
Okay.
You start to see, she's missed 50% of the games. There just comes a point in time where I'm wondering, is the wear and tear too much on her? Because if it was a twisted ankle, that ain't nothing. That's a contact injury. That probably won't happen again. But when you pull your groin, when you do your quad, it's because of overuse. It's because of excessive use. It's because of you're getting too much of a load on your body because they're picking you up from full court. You got to run around screens all day to get open, and then they're harassing you on the defensive side of the ball, and they're attacking you. So I'm not worried yet, but if I see another injury this season, then I'm worried. If I see 3 of them, it's only a 40-game season, people. This ain't the NBA where you're playing 82. It's only a 40-game season. She's already missed 8 out of 16. I'll worry if it happens again.
Yeah, we shouldn't panic at all whatsoever. Now, obviously, monitor it, but don't panic. She had a quad injury. Overcompensation turns to a groin injury. Groin injuries, they take longer because you're constantly moving, so you got to be smart about that. And also, too, the soft tissue injuries matters. Like,
yes, they do.
If you have a hamstring strain, it depends where it is. High, low, in the belly, it depends because you can still play with it depending on where it is. But for her, it's I don't think so, man. And just overall concern about her, whether it's injuries, whether it's mentally, whether it's fame, all these things, I think she's going to handle it just fine. It's important for her, like who's on her team in terms of her management, in terms of trainers.
But what about, let me ask you this, what about the size, like her size? Because A'ja Wilson, a beast, absolute beast, probably the best player in the WNBA, MVP, reigning MVP, has championships, etc. She stands at 6'4". When she stands next to Bam Adebayo, many are suggesting they're in a relationship, whatever the case may be. When she stands next to Bam Adebayo and heels on, they're the same height.
Yeah, she's an adult. She's an adult.
What you getting at?
I'm getting at Caitlin doesn't necessarily have the physical stature, imposing stature, that makes her predisposed to handle injuries better. LeBron James is 6'8", 280.
Can I throw Zion in there for you?
Or that's a good name, but can I throw some other names at you? What about Greg Oden? You see how big he is? God. Andrew Bynum. I can name some big guys if you're talking about big guys.
So if you're a big guy and you get injury prone, I'm surprised. But if you're small and you're injury prone, I'm not surprised. Because you're small. Shady, she stands at 6 feet, 157.
Well, here's the thing.
She got to be banging all day.
We all play with one person. We all play with Deshaun Jackson, D-Jack, and that's our dog. And when he's on the field, lights out. But the one thing I can say is he didn't work out that much. He didn't take care of himself. And he's about 140. And even when we played on the Den Redskins together, I knew, we knew what DJ, we're going to get 6 elite games, 8 elite games. But he always had small, little soft tissue injuries here and there, and he just never addressed them because he didn't fully train. So either you're not training enough, or in her case, maybe she was so turned up for this season, because you asked me, did I work out too much? Maybe she trained so much to get ready for this season that she had no room to even improve or stay healthy.
I really, when it comes to injuries, right, I do think that you can prevent certain injuries, right? And I always say, put your body in uncomfortable situations. So if it happens in a game, right? That's why, when I work on my cuts in the offseason, I would do, awkward movements because if I'm ever in a game and I'm cutting and I'm...
Your body's acclimated to that,
it's used to it. That's one part. But the other part is sometimes that's how the games go. And there's people that train all day, right? And always get hurt. And there's guys that don't train, really, and don't get hurt. That's why I never play with the injury thing. I'll just say this. Before this year, out of 81 games, she's missed 1.
Yeah, correct.
And now we ask she's injury prone. It's part of the process.
Right.
And she has a 12-year career. In year 2, she has some small injuries. She only missed 8 games. What are we talking about?
You missed my example earlier. I had probably 1 injury. I missed 1 game from high school to college. Even in college, my senior year, I mentioned I played offense, defense, especially. I played 100 snaps a game, didn't miss 1 game. But my very first mini camp, I just turned plant, break my foot. And then my foot turned into a calf injury. Then my calf injury turned to a hamstring. And then all of a sudden, I just go on injury reserve that year. Come back the next year, foot was kind of healed, broke my foot again. So I had all these non-contact, and then all of a sudden I had an ACL. So it just kept...
That's your journey,
it just kept rolling. It kept rolling. And eventually I realized, okay, this league is a little different. I'm going to practice. It ain't practice. Practice is a game. Okay? I got Greg Jennings. I got our dog James Jones. I got to defend, and they are running routes. It's not like, hey, they full on. So it's different. So I had to adjust. Because, year 3, I'm over here looking like, damn, they might get rid of your boy, and my career might be over. And so I had to find a way to get acclimated to the game because, especially in the NFL, the injury rate is 100%. You are going to get something.
At some point.
And so I had to learn how to adjust to it. Therefore...
What's your comeback, Acho? Because you've been hurt more than... Well, I can't even say that. Wow. Yeah, damn. Somebody can beat you. Dang. But my thing is, when there's guys... I play with guys that, treat their body like hell. I'm talking about... super physical.
Yeah.
Like a walkthrough is physical for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they always gonna have some contact, but then they only get hurt. Like Dennis Rodman, Dennis Rodman. You talk about down on the ball on the ground for loose balls. You talk about being physical. You talk about he wasn't really hurt.
Yeah.
I think about players like Draymond Green. He's
Derrick Henry's
get.
workout routine.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
There's so many players I can talk about that you play so physical, you don't really get hurt. You get what I mean? So I think sometimes it's how
the game go.
That's how life is.
That's how the game goes.
I didn't really work out like that. The Sean Jackson was my workout partner. So, but I will say this: we were super elite in the weight room looking at the weights. Like, oh, that look heavy. And he made that. Ooh, he's strong. I was great at that though.
Shady, D-Jack, and Vic. Imagine how much they were lifting. Hey, when we return, the Steelers have added Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, Aaron Rodgers.
They building something over there.
Metcalf. But did they actually get better this season? They make all their moves for no reason?
Steel Curry. No. They getting better though.
It's been a busy offseason for the Steelers. They traded for three-time All-Pro Jalen Ramsey, also acquired Jonnu Smith. This is following the big moves of Aaron Rodgers and remember DK Metcalf over a few months ago. Shady, the Steelers have a new look offense and really a new defense. Out goes Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
In comes Jalen Ramsey. In comes Jonnu Smith. In comes Aaron Rodgers. Out goes George Pickens. In comes DK Metcalf. Can you say the Steelers got better?
I think they got better. I would have loved to keep Minka. Minka in there, if we keep him there, right, and add somehow, some way, Jalen Ramsey, that would have been like my ideal way. But I like what they're doing here. They're getting help, right, obviously on offense and defense. I think that secondary is going to be phenomenal, right? And then you add in Porter Jr. in there. So I'm curious to see how they work that. I was wondering, you think that put Ramsey probably in the nickel?
Nickel back.
Because he's so special where he can blitz, he can cover. And he has that knack for the football. I like that move. And then also on offense, right? You get a nice explosive tight end with DK Metcalf. You got Aaron Rodgers. So they made some splashes. And then we keep forgetting, though, TJ Watt is not there. Once he's there, right, the ball has to come out eventually. And you got them pass rushers. I like what the Steelers are doing. It went from a terrible situation, just like you dating a girl and like, I don't like her ways. And then over time, she keeps getting better and better and better.
Talk about it.
So I like it. I like it on the field, and I like it for my dating situation.
I love it. I think we know a clear favorite who the best team is in the AFC, Chiefs. I think there's a clear 2 and 3 in the AFC, Ravens and Bills or Bills and Ravens in whatever order you want. But this puts the Steelers in the conversation for 4 through 8. This puts the Steelers firmly in the conversation for Chargers, Broncos, Texans, whatever order you want to say. I don't think the Steelers were in the conversation for 4 through 8 prior to the moves they've made in the last 4 weeks. But now the Steelers are firmly in the 4 through 8 conversation. 1 is the Chiefs, 2 and 3 Ravens, Bills. But now the Steelers have just as good a chance, in my mind, as the Texans, as the Chargers, as the Broncos, as anybody else in the AFC, not the top 3.
Yeah, I like how you put them in that category. I wholeheartedly believe they got better. Obviously, number one, the quarterback position. They got better with Aaron. And you lose Pickens, Mike Williams, Vance Jefferson, and receivers, but you add veterans like elite DK Metcalf. You get a constant Super Bowl. You get a veteran, a Super Bowl winner, Robert Woods. You got, Kenneth Gainwell. You get Jonnu Smith, who was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee, pretty much the coordinator that got him paid. And then you get Jalen Ramsey, who I still believe, and I know he's an elite corner, and you said nickel, which they called the star position when he was with the Rams with Raheem Morris, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to use his versatility because that's where he is most dangerous. When he was at Florida State, he played safety. He came down, he covered guys, he came down to the box. At corner, he does a good job, but he's very, very limited when you put Jalen at corner because of his athletic ability.
What do you mean he's limited?
He's limited because he just can play one side of the field. Where he needs to roam around. The year they won the Super Bowl, he played a star position. He was accounted for. Every time the offense went in the field, they need to know where was Jalen Ramsey at because he was a game wrecker. And in this case, that's exactly what the Steelers are going to do. And then I'm going to give you another name, Juan Thornhill, the safety that they got.
Good player.
I played with him
in Kansas City. He has 74 starts, two-time Super Bowl champion. So you lose Minka, but you got a leader back there who knows exactly what to do, who knows exactly what it takes to win championships. And so I think wholeheartedly they got better. They got in a situation where they're going to compete. I got them actually winning a playoff game this year and in that drought. But yeah, I think.
Let me ask you this, though.
I do too, though.
Yeah. To win a playoff game, though, first and foremost, do y'all have them winning the division? Can they beat the Baltimore Ravens to win the division?
I think they finished second in division.
Okay, great. So if they finish second in the division, now in order for them to win a playoff game, remember, they got to go on the road to do it.
Yep.
So you either have to go play the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
Assuming the Chiefs win, you have to go play the Kansas City Chiefs. Assuming the Houston Texans win, you have to go play the Houston Texans. Then that's if you're lucky enough to be the 5 seed and the Texans are the 4 seed. Because otherwise, if you're the 6 seed, you got to play the Ravens, you got to play the Bills, you got to play. So winning a playoff game, though we say that on July 2nd flippantly, how feasible is that, Shady? We talked a lot. Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Pickett. Yeah, he's a better player, but they're probably going to go to the playoffs and lose in the first round. How feasible is it for them to win a playoff game?
I'm thinking about all the top teams in the AFC. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. You got
Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. Yep.
Bills, I'm 3.
And then the Texans are probably going to win their division.
I'm not a big believer in the Texans. Not yet. This is me. Texans, then you probably have, let's go to what, the Chargers maybe?
Yep. Probably a wild card team.
I can see them beating the Chargers.
But they wouldn't say it the Chargers.
But I'm just going to give you these teams.
Got it.
You don't know how it's going to seed out. Who else you got over there?
Broncos.
Right? I think they could beat the Broncos.
Of course, agree with that.
So they're in the mix. Now, the question is going to be, if you get teamed up, you got to play against the Bills.
Correct.
You got to go against the Ravens.
Correct. I almost wonder, do they have to win the division to win a playoff game? Because I'm with Shady. They can beat the Chargers. They can beat the Broncos. I think they can beat the Texans.
They should have beat Baltimore, but they gave up 300 yards rushing. Like, Russell went off that game. Russell led them to win that game, but they could not stop.
As a defender, do you think that the Steelers' defensive issues have been fixed?
I think they have been, because if they're going to use Jalen as a star. There's no question going to do that. And I love the addition of Thornhill.
But there's a subtraction of Minka Fitzpatrick.
That's fine.
3-time All-Pro in 6 years.
That's fine. But
first team.
you add a consummate veteran back there to do his thing at the safety, and you bring in another playmaker in Jalen Ramsey, and you get in a guy who can just cover and slay on the outside. So I feel like just overall they got better. And now you mentioned, can they go ahead and go on the road? But that's why now you have guys with maturity. Pickens, they talked about him and his maturity. Mike Williams, can he still go and be the 50-50 guy, which he was...
Well, Mike out of there.
Which he was brought in to do. Again, those are maturity situations. So now you got, like I said, Robert Woods and DK Metcalf to go in there. And so I believe they could. Like I said, they almost did last year on the road. Russell.
I think the biggest question is, and I've been saying this his whole career, it's on Aaron Rodgers, right? He's older now. He's not the same. He's still solid, right?
But we don't know, because like you said.
But I'm saying they're putting guys around him to help him out. But it's going to come down to him. And I always tell James Jones this. He hates to hear it, but as special as he is, as great as y'all say he is, right? Even at this, because we're going to hear stuff like this. When he goes to training camp, Mike Tomlin and the defense, yo, man, I haven't seen a ball like that in years. They're going to tell you how great he looks.
That's always going to happen.
Right, that's cool.
Right.
But the thing for me is, we need to see in the playoffs, man. Because you're 11-10 in the playoffs. As great as you are, as 4 MVPs, I love it. One of the greats, cool. Show up, though. Because we not having this conversation if he goes out there and he balls out. Think about it.
Let me ask you, because you played against Aaron Rodgers. Where you played with Aaron Rodgers.
Come on now.
How good is Aaron Rodgers at this junction in his career, and how good do you think he's been in totality?
Yeah, I think he's been just outstanding in totality. And I go back to his playoff games. The year we beat them when they were 15-1, their defense was ranked 32nd in, I believe, total yards allowed. They were ranked dead last. The 2 times they lost the NFC Championship game, the defense one time gave up 44 points.
Falcons.
And then I believe it was 36 points to Tampa Bay. They scored 3 touchdowns. Tom Brady scored 3 touchdowns going into the half.
I was there for that.
There you go. And so...
But hold up. But to give straight, Aaron Rodgers was shut down for a lot of that game.
Well, your defense was ridiculous, too.
Real quick, notice how all the Packer players that play, they're going to give you that. Just know that. It ain't Aaron's fault.
No, I'm saying, like,
keep going.
Y'all did it. No, it was his fault. The defense was really good. Y'all made the plays. And then going with the Jets, I mean, the first year, the expectations were high. And obviously, it was unfortunate he had the injury. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, all the stuff that went on with the New York Jets in totality, it was just a hard judge. So right now, where he is, even this last year in Green Bay, it is looking downhill.
Before I go to break, settle an argument and let's figure out if it is just that seat. Shady and I, and really Shady and James, always debate about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, where does he rank as far as most talented quarterbacks all time, in your opinion?
Talented all time.
As a 10-year defensive back, so you faced a lot of them. Where does he rank? The most talented all time, where does he rank?
Are you doing that? You're doing this the best, because it's 2 conversations we have up here.
All right, where does he rank? Let's start with talented.
Talented, that's hard because, like, Marino, Mahomes, talented. Josh.
Answer the question, sir.
I'm going to say 2.
Number 2, behind who?
I don't know. He's number 2.
Okay. Where does he rank as far as best quarterbacks all time?
Best quarterback? Man, he's top 10 because right now I got Brady and Mahomes 1 and 2 of the best of all time.
Aaron Rodgers at his
John Elway is up there for most.
Aaron Rodgers at his best. Is he better than any other quarterback in the
I like that. I like top 10.
Aaron Rodgers at his best. Is he better than any other quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers at his best.
Is he better than any other quarterback at their best?
Yeah, at his best, hands down.
At his best, he's the best.
Hands down.
What's that mean at his best? I'm just because
like his best year when
Brady at his best. Is he better than Brady at his best?
Aaron got 4 MVPs.
See, you see
because he was 4 MVPs, meaning you were the best that time.
Shady, you on an island?
We got 10 seconds.
You on?
But hold on. If you're so, this is my issue though. If you're so great,
if I'm going into a game, I want Brady. But in terms of like just the best pure quarterback,
what we
right there,
for?
Talent-wise,
I don't know what we playing.
Shady, why are you the only one that don't be getting what we saying, bro?
Because the truth is, though, like Aaron Rodgers, if we arguing that about talent, like I don't think there's no quarterback that I've seen more talented than Josh Allen. I play with Vic. So you can tell me, I know what talent look like. I haven't seen a quarterback.
Because you played with Josh.
What I'm saying, I haven't seen a quarterback with his size, right? With his heart. He run over you, run past you.
Yeah, he's insanely athletic.
He can throw the ball anywhere on the field, and he can run the ball well. Not like Lamar.
I'm with him when he trains. He's insanely athletic.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if a quarterback can do that. He can make every throw, and I can run the ball like any other running back you want. I haven't seen anybody like that. And I'm 6'4", 6'5".
No footwork either. He just,
I never seen him. So I think he's the most, and I play with Mahomes, too,
But the numbers.
But there's a difference, though. I love this conversation. Sorry. There's a difference, though, between gifted and talented, though. Josh just physically. Aaron Rodgers can't just make all the throws. Aaron Rodgers can put the ball exactly where he wants to put it.
And that's the difference. I know we're going over. But when you talk to guys, when they talk about playing against Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, the challenges we're going against Tom Brady is he gets to the line of scrimmage. He's like, okay, this guy's going to go here. He's playing the hook. He's playing the flat. He's going here. Aaron Rodgers can go up. He's like, I'm going to go here regardless.
Regardless of where you want to go.
Regardless, because I can get the football there. Brady's going to beat you schematically. Yeah. He knows exactly where you're going. I can go to the AFC Championship game versus Jacksonville Jaguars. He knew it was 3rd and 14. He had to get to the first down marker. He knew the Jags were in cover 3. He jumped outside because he knows his vision break defense. Linebacker takes off. He turns around, Amendola. Boom. Game over.
So wait, let's slow down real quick. Now, you said that sounded great.
Sounded great.
You should be a coach. Seriously, though.
I am.
Shout
out to Crean Lutheran High School.
But real quick, saying that, though, right? How the hell could you not want that then?
I do.
Because it looks better?
I didn't say it didn't. I do.
Real quick, though, and I'm over it. For Aaron Rodgers to be so special and great, right? In the playoffs, he's 11-10. He has 4 MVPs, and he has only 1 Super Bowl appearance.
No Andy Reid, no Bill Belichick. There we go.
It's always something, though. It's always something.
Context matters, baby.
Hey, when we return, Deebo Samuel's criticized for how he looked during OTAs, but new video has emerged of Deebo. So how impressive was the workout? Let's weigh in. That's next. Well, I'm looking up that 3rd and 14.
That's all the great stuff. LeBron, Kobe, Jordan.
Hey, Deebo Samuel took heavy criticism early in the offseason for not looking in tip-top shape, but now he's looking, some would say, as explosive as ever. New video has emerged. 2-5. How much you read into this? This something, this nothing.
And you ain't, man, your eyes work, and you got glasses on. Come on, man. That boy moving. I don't care what his weight is. It's how do you move with that weight? He's blessed to run like that, with that size. And somebody watching that video, you ain't tell me.
Shady.
What's that?
This is his gift. You're known as your thing is agility, shifts. I was a punt returner. My attribute, my superstar power was side to side. Like he running like little short routes. This is what he's good at. He's
so is this not impressive to you?
What's the problem with it?
Because he's gonna look good no matter what. Anytime he does it, he's gonna look good doing that. This is what he does.
I got you. That's what you're saying.
This is what he does.
So you're saying
this is like me watching Steph Curry shoot a bunch of threes. That's what he does.
So it's not that impressive because this is what he does.
This is what Deebo does.
That don't look impressive for you?
This is what he does.
Like do something that.
If he went out there, he ran a 10-4, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Now,
okay, now let's juxtapose this to the older Deebo footage because we have the older. So this is the older Deebo footage is coming. This is what we saw during training camp when people were starting to share their concerns.
Training camp. When was this?
About 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, man.
I'm impressed by the new Deebo footage, though.
Because this is the time of year camp is getting close. Right here, man. Let me just get there. I seen guys show up there and they were just.
I ain't
looks
trying
crazy.
to look at this. But
Because I mentioned, like, remember I talked about health-wise, like.
Look at this, though. Will, keep up for a second. Well, look at this. Look at this movement, though, bro. So, first of all, one thing I like about Deebo, right? He ain't out here doing a whole bunch of posts and post corners and an 18-yard comeback. Because he probably going to be doing it in the game.
Correct.
This is what he is going to do, you're going to throw in some digs, you're going to throw in some shorts.
No, you're going to give him a quick game.
But that's what he's doing.
That's why I'm saying this is what he does.
So then let me ask you this, though, Will.
He's an elite athlete. I'm saying,
but this is how he's going to play in the game.
So y'all are both in agreement that this is impressive to you.
This is another part for the course. Man.
How big an impact you think Deebo can have this year? Because the Commanders are acquiring Deebo, plus Laramie Tunsil trying to capitalize on Jaden
he's going to be an unbelievable weapon for them. Are you kidding me? He's a guy right now you have to 100% account for. Yeah. Give him the ball now, he going to do this.
I'll text Deebo right now, dog. He got to know this.
Deebo is different.
You balling. You look, boy.
Let me ask you this.
What I say that was bad?
Let me.
I just said my text saying he looked good when his workout.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Deebo can be the number 2 receiver for the Commanders behind Scary Terry? Or do you think that Deebo is more of a gadget type of receiver? We're going to get him 6 to 8 touches, 6 to 10 touches a game. Some will be in the backfield. Or can he be a true number 2?
You can't just give him 6 to 8 touches. He needs to be the second option or sometimes a priority option. That's where I feel like that in the first Super Bowl the Niners played the Chiefs, that's the mistake they made. They stopped giving him the football. He was going off early in that game, and they stopped.
But let me converse that to the second time the Niners were in the Super Bowl when Deebo got more targets than Brandon Ayuk. Deebo, I believe he had 10 targets, 3 catches on that game. Brandon Ayuk only had 6 targets.
They stopped giving CMC the ball that game.
So
that's what happened.
So you think you can rely on Deebo to be the number 2 wide receiver?
No question. You're getting inspired. You're getting motivated, and he's going to a system where you got a coach like Dan Quinn who lets you be you. And he's coming to work every day. He's going to a hell of a situation where he's going to get the best out of him. He's going to go off. Because that's the one thing Dan Quinn does. He gets the best out of all his players. And so, yeah, he's going to go to Washington. He's clearly going to be the number 2 option. Some games he might be number 1. Yeah, I give him an all-pro year.
He gonna
really?
Ball.
I give him an all-pro year.
And I think another thing is knowing that you see, one thing when you get traded, I'm going to a place they want me. They love me. They can't wait to have me. That's one thing I hated when I got traded. But when I got to Buffalo, I said, wow, these people, they want me.
You got traded for. They want, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Even when you got to sign a guy. So now I'm looking at Deebo, they're going to find every way in their power to make sure he's successful. And you got the quarterback, and you got the coach, you got the head
coordinator.
Coach, and you got the offensive coordinator. Man, Deebo about to go off. And look like he in shape.
You get college plays.
Deebo cutting like me right now. I don't know what.
To me, if they have any bit of a running game, any bit, I think the Commanders are going to be like that. Like they just, to me right now, I think it's Robinson Jr. Obviously, he got shot a year and a half ago, whatever the case may be.
Bang, bang.
If they have like a...
They got that kid from Nevada, Corey.
You nice?
Undrafted. Watch out.
We will see.
Oh, I heard it is pretty good.
Yeah,
we will see. Hey, going to break. When we return, it is time for a Blitz meeting. Who's the bigger threat to the Thunder? Is it the Nuggets or is it actually Kevin Durant's Rockets? That and so much more here in the facility. Let's get to a Blitz meeting. Free agent center DeAndre Ayton is looking for a new team, and there have been rumors that the Lakers may be a potential landing spot. Ayton started as center for the Suns when they went to the championship, but they lost to the Bucks. Shady, is DeAndre Ayton the missing piece for the Lakers?
No. I'm a firm believer in Luka needs a superstar, right? And he's about to deliver.
LeBron James.
This brother been in the league for 7 years, now got 1 All-Star, and you was like number 2, number 1.
Who's out there?
Man, I'm going to say it again, man. 7 years, not 1 All-Star?
Let me disagree with you,
man. Okay.
The reason I'm going to say yes is Luka always makes his bigs a lot better. Whether it's Gafford, whether it's Lively, whatever the case may be, because you can run to the rim and he can look for you with the lob runs. Think about how much better Jackson Hayes got when Luka was there. I'm going to say Ayton will be the missing piece.
They didn't even play him in the game. Listen, I'm not trying to come at y'all. I'm just saying, he was number 1 pick. I'm trying
to pick.
Number 1 to pick.
Hold on.
In 7 years, not 1 All-Star?
Remember what Andrew Wiggins did when he got to the Warriors, in part because of Steph. Remember that. Andrew Wiggins was number 1 overall pick. He didn't do nothing prior to the Warriors. 5 years, Andrew Wiggins, he looked like a bust. Looked like the biggest bust in the sport. Next thing you know, he joins the Warriors, and you could suggest he was the second best player on that championship team. Think about it. I'm gonna let you think about it.
I'm gonna say yes, simply because, right, we can say how he was with Phoenix, how he was in different locker rooms, but he's gonna go to the Lakers and be around a good coach with leadership, they'll get the best out of him. I'm going to say yes.
2 things before we go. If he doesn't do well, y'all won't be surprised because he's never been a star for him.
I wouldn't be surprised, but his upside, he would help.
Okay.
So you said 2 things.
Oh, Deion Sanders always say there's 2 types of players. Yep. There's guys that just find a way to get it done. And there's other guys that find ways to make excuses. Y'all made excuses for this dude, man.
Hey, moving on, Justin Fields. Several people make excuses for him. He's getting ready for his first season with the Jets. His teammate Breece Hall, said they are not trying to rebuild and they are trying to win right now. Shady, can Justin Fields lead the Jets to the playoffs?
This ain't a serious question. No.
Absolutely not.
Playoffs for Justin Fields? That means you got to win like 10 games or something like that, right?
And the AFC East got better.
Hey, stop playing.
Is it because of Fields or is it because of the competition?
Both. We haven't seen Fields do it.
I haven't seen.
And it's the Jets. With Jets, we don't know what's.
Have you seen Fields play good? I haven't really.
I have not seen him play well. No.
Have you seen him play?
Not well enough where I can see him lead a team.
Yeah.
Seen him win games, but not.
Seen him win games.
Seen him lose more games than win games. I've seen that.
Objectively speaking, that's accurate.
Playoffs?
That's going to be hard to do. That's going to be hard to do. Hey, the Thunder recently won the NBA championship, but the Nuggets have made a lot of moves. So have the Rockets in the West. The Rockets were the 2 seed. The Nuggets, I believe, the 3 seed this year. Nuggets may have been the 4 seed because they played the Clippers first. Shady, who's the bigger threat to the Thunder, Nuggets or the Rockets?
Rockets. They got the guard. Kevin Durant's over there with some defense, with some size. Are we tripping?
What's his free throw height?
You know I do.
You're tripping.
Kevin Durant.
You're tripping. It's got to be the Nuggets. Y'all got to remember, the Nuggets are... It's got to be the Nuggets.
Why is it got to be?
Because the Nuggets have gone to a championship within the last 3 years. Yeah. I want to use common sense.
Common sense?
Jokic. You do all that shit. Jokic is better than Kevin Durant right now. The Nuggets have a better team, I would suggest, as it pertains to winning than the Rockets right now.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
The Nuggets know how to win.
So Nuggets, we'll see where they last year because the Rockets number 2, Kevin Durant wasn't even there.
Who got further in the playoffs? Who got further in the playoffs?
Jalen Green.
Yeah, who got further in the playoffs?
Jalen Green.
Who got star power?
Okay. All right,
Number 2, and you add star power, and you got one of the realest coaches.
What's Jokic? Is Jokic not star power?
You know that
I'm saying the Rockets. The Rockets need a star power.
Enough! Derrick Henry is running uphill.
Thompson about to be the best 2-way player.
That's his Nigerian.
Derrick Henry is running up hills this summer. I hate you, Shady. Keep in mind, Henry rushed for 2,000 yards before in the season, and last year he came close. Shady, you know this question better than anybody. You know the answer to it.
This is easy one.
You giving Derrick Henry a chance to rush for 2K this season?
Listen, I don't know about these workouts. I know one thing. Yes, the brother had 1,900 yards last year, and they could have had. Okay, listen, him and Lamar Jackson back there, and then Derrick Henry the king. Stop playing. He might get 2,000 plus.
I'm glad we can agree on something today. Yeah, Derrick Henry absolutely a chance. So long as Derrick Henry takes the field and plays every game, he is an absolute beast. Top 2 running back, top 3 running back of the generation. He like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no question. Here's the thing. They know he's getting the ball.
Yeah, they still can't stop him.
They load the box. He's still getting yards. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
He does this every single year. He is, almost 270 and hit the 99-yarder? Like, he is unbelievable.
Different type of dude.
Yeah, 2K.
Hey, that is it for us. We appreciate y'all hanging out on today. You think Derrick Henry gonna outrush Saquon?
Oh, I won't go that far.
No, chill out, bro. What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Well, you said he gonna go for 2.
Why can't
Hey, man, it's been real on the facility. We appreciate y'all.
Hey, that's it for us. The Herd is up.